Farmers of Reddit, what did your animals do that made you go how the F did you do that? My family has raised quail. When the chicks hatched to feed them we had jars filled with feed screwed into a base with holes so they can't run around in an open pan of food and poop in it. More than once some chicks would still sit in the holes and eventually burrow their way through the feed and up into the jar until the space collapsed in on itself and the baby chick was just displayed inside the jar atop the feed, trapped inside. When we had a pet lamb we used to take it on walks. Anyway, when we needed to cross a fence we would jump over/through, and then part the wires so the dogs and sheep could get through. After about 6 months we released her back to the herd. And proceeded to often find her in other paddocks and even caught her in the act of parting the wires and jumping through fences. That same sheep has now 2 years later figured out how to open gates. Can open 2 of the 3 latch types we have on our farm. Our current pet lamb has invented a whole new way of walking that is effectively jumping up and down on all fours. It is seriously funny to watch a nearly fully grown lamb casually walk by jumping on all fours. My horse started army crawling to get out of the paddock. We kept wondering how he got out when the fence was intact, until we caught him do it. We had some mini ponies stabled at our farm. Uckers would lie down next to the fence and roll underneath it while tucking in their legs. Had to install a bit on the bottom to keep them in. I had a chicken who would do this. There was a teeny gap between the ground and the fence at one section of the chicken run and she'd scooch under it when she wanted to go on a walkabout around the neighborhood, would sometimes get notes on the door from neighbors saying your chicken is wandering around again. I once saw a goat on a small rock ledge on a vertical rocky mountainside eating the 3 blades of grass that were growing there. That ledge was about 500 meters above a lush green valley with a lot of plants. How it got there and why I don't know. Maybe it's a safety thing, hardly any predators would be able to follow it up there, after all. Semi-mummified chicken wedged behind a tree. Notable mainly because my island is basically windswept moorland and you have to go a damn long way to find anything bigger than a daffodil. How it escaped the hen house and wandered nearly 2 miles without being picked off by an eagle/crow/raven/bonksy we will never know. Can only assume it eventually died of shock at seeing its first ever actual tree. My neighbor's llama who always escaped and would be chilling out with neighbors, he would even know how to cross the street. Because of him, another neighbor, an old man was saved. Old man passed out and was on the floor. The llama went to another neighbor and led them to the old man. Former llama owner here. Been a sheep farmer for most of my life. We used to use llamas to guard the sheep, but the problem is that llamas sacrifice themselves to save the sheep. They do a good job protecting the sheep but they're almost a single-use deal. My parents live in a rural area. A small holding farm shares the fence line. My parents have found our cat riding their sheep 4 times. This is an indoor cat. When it escaped it goes to ride a sheep. 6 sheep chilling eating grass with our cat on the back of one of them. He's not a small cat either, he's a ucking unit. Riding the goddamn sheep. Not exactly a farmer but my family raised chickens. One day I walked outside and mockingly cawed at them. In response they all simultaneously made a noise that sounded like the cries of the damned. Reminds me a bit of walking out of my house years ago, surprised to actually not hear the coyotes howling somewhere around. There was a fence row right next to the driveway, alongside the house, and a cornfield beyond. I decided to see if I could induce them to howl, so I howled. I got what sounded like a pack of 12 to 20, so probably 4 to 6, howling back at me from just the other side of the fence row. Made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, that's for sure. It does feel unnerving to get that kind of response, but coyotes generally pretty harmless to humans. Even a pack of them together isn't much interested in taking on a human. They only really start to get dangerous when you have coy dogs, where they get some stray dog mixed in. That's when they get bigger, and less fearful of people. I lived at and worked for a ranch in Utah. I was walking from the tack shed home one night and there was a horse in the pasture with its neck sliced open. Like really fucking bad. What made it weird was this horse was just chilling out and eating. I caught her and my boss came to sew her back up, and she just stands there like nothing is happening. If anything, she was pissed we took her away from the other horses. Animals just have different tolerances for pain than humans. I swear cows just give zero shits about being injured as long as it's not one of their legs. I found this old long sharpened steel rod in our barn and asked my dad what it was. He said back when my grandpa first started farming, sometimes the cows would get a bunch of gas stuck in their digestive systems and the solution was to walk up to the cow and stab it in a certain spot to release the gas. He was told this didn't really cause the cows to react much. In case you're unaware, pigs are incredibly smart and will eat anything they think they can digest. Live or not. A friend of mine had their pigs in one pen and their chickens in an immediately adjacent pen. 3 of their hens managed to jump the fence between the pens and found themselves amidst the pigs. The pigs immediately circled the hens and forced them into a corner. By the time my buddy got over there was nothing left of the hens except for a wing sticking out of one of the pigs' mouths. The cooperation of the pigs to eat 3 hens was impressive and definitely WTF inducing. There are a lot of dumb farm animals, looking at you, cows, but domestic turkeys take the cake. I've heard tales of turkeys drowning in the rain because they'll look up at the raindrops with open beaks and choke on the water. I've never seen that happen, so I'm a bit skeptical. Lol, my friend once told me that he saw wild turkeys in our little suburban town doing this. I called bull. Now I had to look it up. It appears to be a common myth with a small grain of truth to it. Apparently some turkeys have genetic defects that cause neurological spasms, causing them to point their beaks at the sky. These spasms can be triggered by loud sounds like thunder. They're definitely not looking at the rain. One morning, dead of winter. Woke up before the sun rose. Looked out the back window, cow looking in at me. Looked out the kitchen window, another cow. Living room window, another cow. Looked out the front door, the bull. Our small herd of cattle somehow got out and came to the house to all stare in different windows. Not sure I want to know what they were thinking. The council will decide your fate. I have goats. I say that daily. Biggest how the fuck was when they completely disabled a very expensive 4-wheel tractor. Goats like to chew through wires, but the wires on this tractor are covered, so I really didn't think they'd do any damage. Somehow, they crawled, literally, under the tractor, stood up on their back legs to reach up high enough to find the one and only uncovered wire and chew through it. The amount of effort needed to find the wire and get to it was astounding. It wasn't just sitting in the open. They had to maneuver around a lot of other parts to get to it. But they did it. And for a few days, we couldn't figure out why the tractor wouldn't start. That's how long it took us to find that one wire. They were free-ranging at the time, so they literally could go anywhere and eat anything that is appropriate for them. But no, they went for that one fucking wire. They no longer free range when vehicles are out.